It's a very big fight. It's one of the most, I guess, one of the most exciting fights that we could have in one championship, or that we'll ever have in one championship. One of the most anticipated, at the very least. Yep. So we're going to Vault first on this one. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Vault? What makes it a good fight?
Well, with one championship, we've always loved fighters sharing their genuine respect for one another. But in the fight game, a little animosity never hurts. We've seen it in the latest example of this was the Angela Lee and Shang Jingnan fight. We saw those women like slug it out for 5 rounds. Um, they had like they had this competitive spirit between them. Some would say that they hate each other, but you know that these two women just love the competition and they want to prove that they're the best. With these two, John Lineker and Fabricio Andrade, they've been throwing trash at each other, man. So, I mean, I think it's gonna be something to watch just to see if either one of them could back up everything that they've been saying. Like Fabricio Andrade is saying that he's on the level higher than John Lineker, and John Lineker is like, you have to kill me to knock me out. So I don't know. This is gonna be probably a short fight. I feel like it's gonna be a short fight. These two want to kill each other. They said no takedowns. They have a gentleman's agreement that they're not gonna have takedowns. So I don't know. It's something that fans would love to see in an MMA fight. Just like two fighters slugging it out in the middle of the cage. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting to me. The no takedowns gentleman's agreement. I'm not sure like how many of these we've had, and if they've been able to stick with them. From recent memory, I think the last one was with Tan Kai and Tan Lei, right? They both
Tan Kai and Kim Jae-won as well.
Was it
They had
okay?
the new takedowns. Yeah.
But in the most recent in my memory was Tan Kai and Tan Lee, and I briefly recall in that fight that somebody did try to go for a takedown, right?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I feel like it was San. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
So. I think so. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think these two guys will be able to stick with the gentleman's agreement and not take this fight to the ground?
I mean, Striker's pride. I feel like they would. What do you think, guys?
Nah, this will be an all-out brawl.
What? What's that?
This will be an all-out brawl. Like, fuck. Stand-up war. Punch after punch. No takedowns allowed. This will be a kickboxing match fought under MMA rules.
Mm-hmm. I think if there's someone who's going for a takedown, I think it's going to be Andrade, I mean, he's got the skills on the ground. I'm not saying Lineker doesn't have the tools, but I think Wonder Boy he's more eager to do it in the ground if that's the case. He's the first fighter that's going to do it.
I'd say he's probably more. He would probably be more confident on the ground. I don't think that his pride will allow him to try and initiate a takedown, because he's the one that's been calling for a knockout basically of John Lineker, right? Ever since he started calling John Lineker out, he's always said he was going to knock him out. So it'll be pretty ironic.
First round, no less.
Yeah, it'll be pretty ironic to see Fabricio try to take John Lineker down. I don't think that's going to happen, but I guess if it does go to the ground, we've never seen either of them on the ground at all, so we don't know exactly what to expect if the fight does hit the ground. That being said, I think Volt is right. It's probably going to end within the distance.
Fabricio actually had a submission win in his first fight, so
yes.
You're right.
Just a little bit probably, but he's been quick hand.
I didn't watch that fight. I mean, I did watch that fight, but I don't remember it. I think it was against Mark Abelardo. It was his first fight in one, but I guess I'll probably go back and rewatch it and see. Maybe we can. I think that's how we determine, next week when we write our predictions for this fight. That's one of the things that we'll look at, right? Who owns the advantage in the ground?
Of course.
So Bong, there's this is a matchup between two, knockout punchers basically. Who do you think is the better Yeah, let's get down to who do you think is the better striker between the two?
Sorry, what?
Who do you think is the better striker between the two fighters? Like this is a
Oh,
striker versus striker matchup, but who's
yeah.
better?
I think they have very different styles. Fabricio is a volume puncher. It's more like Manny Pacquiao.
What's happening?
Bong is meditating about.
What's happening?
What the results, man?
Oh, gone. We lost Bong.
We're lost, man.
We lost
Good
Bong.
man. He was a good man.
Yeah.
Volume puncher. He will go consistent L.
What happened? What's happening, man?
Prayers up, prayers up.
Here you go. Let's move in now, man.
In the clouds.
Internet problem.
Oh yeah, okay. Bong's having an internet. Let's go to Krill then. Krill, who do you think is the better striker between the two?
All right. I think it comes down to a matter of technique versus power. I mean, both of these guys has the history of knocking people out, but in different ways. I mean, Lineker is more of a home run, home run KOs, Hail Marys, wild haymakers. I mean, it's just distraction, man. While Andrade, on the other hand, I think is more of a fluid fighter. He has more tools in his arsenal. He has more ways of finishing fights. It's not just all about power; it's about precision. You see his last two fights. That was just amazing. It's like beautiful chaos, He nailed accurate shots. He picked his spots beautifully, and I think that's gonna be his main weapon. So to answer your question, I don't know, man. If we're going with power, we go with the world champion. But if we're going with fluidity, technique, I'd say Andrade.
Yeah, those are interesting points for sure. I didn't really follow Lineker's career, when he was with the UFC, but from what I've seen in one, he's the kind of guy that just puts his head down and starts swinging, right? Starts throwing punches. He doesn't really care too much about getting hit, and he'd gladly accept a few punches to the face just so he could land his own. That's the kind of fighter that he is. Whether or not that's going to be good for him against Fabricio Andrade, we'll see. But one thing that we did, when we were in Baguio the other week was Kevin Billingon, I think said that might work against John Lineker's favor because of Andrade's precision striking. You agree with that, Volt? You seem to be nodding your head.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like John Lineker could take a punch, either on his face or on his body. But yeah, considering the precision of Fabricio, it's gonna hurt like hell, man. If you get hit in the body, no amount of training your body would be enough to prevent you from crumbling if it hits the right spot. So yeah, I feel like with Fabricio, it needs to be really precise if he wants to knock out John Lineker.
Yeah, that's very correct. I guess the next point is who has the better chin between these two, right? Have we seen Fabricio get hit at all by any of his opponents? Has his chin been tested under one championship? He's only had how many fights? 10 fights or something like that? Or a little bit more than 10 fights, but have we ever seen him get hit clean?
Not really. No. The last 3 fights have ended in in the first round, so we haven't really seen him in deep waters yet. So I think this would be his biggest test yet.
Yeah, I guess that's the biggest question, right? Who has the better chin? Because we have seen John Lineker get hit in his last fight against Bibiano. Bibiano actually hurt him with a punch. I remember seeing him, he was reeling from a punch. He recovered well, and then he eventually won by KO. But But when that happened, when he got hurt, yeah, that was like a surprising moment for me, especially against Bibi. Bibi is not really known as a knockout puncher. He's known more as a grappler, obviously, but he can crack a bit. If Fabricio hurts John Lineker like that, you think it's gonna, he can end the fight at that moment? Bong.
I think
Returning Bong from meditation.
nah, I don't think Fabricio can one-shot knock out Lineker. Lineker has a tough chin. Yeah, of course we know Bibiano is a ground fighter, but we just can't discount his punching power. He wasn't a bantamweight world champion for so long without having those hands that can put out anyone. We remember Bibiano fought Kevin Bellingon 4 times, so it's a pretty good deal to battle a world renowned striker. But and of course, yeah, as we said earlier, Lineker will just go forward, and if he gets punched, he'll take the punch. If he gets hurt, he will reel back. So I don't think Fabricio has that one-shot power against Lineker. And Lineker is stocky, so his body compared to Kwon is very long, very tall, but it's very thin. Lineker is shorter, stockier, and I think his midsection is more protected than Kwon. Yeah, so I think Lineker can stand Fabricio's punches.
Yeah, this is like one of those fights where it's very hard to pick, right? You really don't know like what's gonna happen because they are such big punchers and they are such great knockout artists. It's just hard to predict who's gonna land first, who's going to go down first. But anyway, the build up to this fight has been very entertaining. Although John Lineker has been, quite, just silent pretty much on his part. Fabricio Andrade has been selling the fight like crazy, right? He's coming out
Chicken shirt now with Anatole
yeah,
Malikin.
that was funny. That was that was super. That was a good touch by Anatoly too, because he basically made that chicken shirt up, right, for Arjun Bular. But yeah, doing it for Fabricio on his birthday, no less, with
best birthday gift ever.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was very thoughtful.
Amazingly fits, man. I mean, the face, the shape of the face of Arjun, even the beard, all lined up. It's like,
yeah,
can't even tell.
Yeah, and Fabricio's been calling John Chicken Lineker for quite a
John Chicken
time
Lineker.
now, right? John Chicken Lineker. That's pretty funny to me, man. But do you think like this? Do you think that this has gotten under John's skin a little bit? Do you think this has affected him mentally, Krill?
Honestly, man, I don't think so. I mean, when have we actually seen John Lineker, trade verbal barbs with anybody? I mean, even in the past, even when he was in different promotions, his previous opponents always take jabs at him for not making weight and whatsoever, but he doesn't engage in such talks. I mean, he's not an emotional fighter by any means. I mean, he's like the type of fighter that lets his fists do the talking, and when those things talk, it's the loudest thing ever, man. You see that in the circle. So yeah, it's like he's a simple guy. He walks into the office, knocks some pools out, gets paid, goes home. It's basically his thing. There's no drama with him whatsoever. So I don't think it's gonna be a factor. He's used to this. He's used to big talkers in the past. So even now that he's the champion, it's like the most low-key champion ever, man. We don't really hear anything from him. And then the fact that he initiated a bit, I think he went on Instagram earlier and posted something in Portuguese, which is translated to "The king is going to keep the crown." I mean, that's short but sweet, right? So this basically is a man of few words, but he does a lot with his actions. So I don't think it's going to affect him one bit.
Yeah, I guess Lineker is very confident in his ability to stop guys, right? You're right. He hasn't been, emotional in his fights. He never takes anything personally. And you're right. He's not going to be affected by this. Although we will see it in the fight, right? It really depends. If he comes out like extra aggressive and angry, then that I think that bodes well for Fabricio on his end, because then he'd get somebody coming forward to him, which is what he wants, right? He doesn't want to be chasing John halfway around the circle, basically. So we'll get down to the predictions now. We'll start off with Bong. How do you think this fight's gonna end? How do you think it's gonna play out, and who's gonna win it?
John Lineker by 4th round submission. Just kidding.
There we
No
go.
takedowns.
Yeah, there we go again.
No,
If there's no takedowns, then it should be like a standing submission, then, right?
standing guillotine.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's
No,
good.
just kidding. My real prediction is, as I said earlier, this will be an all-out brawl. This will be a fist fight. This will be a cage fight in the realest sense. Brutality at its finest. I think John Lineker will hit that one-hit KO. Second round, Fabricio goes down, and it's all over. One shot, boom, end.
Volt, you're up.
I got a coin flip. I feel like I'm going with probably Lineker gets the one-shot knockout in the first, but if it goes to the second, it's probably going to be Fabricio, because he would have, by that time, he would have set up everything that he needs to get his whatever stopping blow that he's going to land on Lineker. He needs to soften up Lineker. So I don't think he's going to get that first round finish, even if he wants to. But I mean, what do I know about MMA, right?
Krill, you're up next, buddy.
All right, man. I mean, this is just an amazing fight. I mean, it's youth against experience. You got a brash young guy who's flashy and all, and you got like the most low key champion ever. So it's a clash of personalities, definitely. So as far as the predictions go, yeah, I think I agree with Bong on siding with Lineker. I think Fabricio is gonna go out guns blazing. I even think he's gonna win rounds 1. I predict this is gonna go in the 3rd round. I predict Fabricio winning the first 2 rounds, so he's gonna get a bit confident, a bit careless, and as we know, all it takes for Lineker is one shot. Finds her chin, it's over. Finds the bottom, it's over. So I think Fab's gonna be, the inexperience is gonna be there. It's gonna be a bit careless. So I think, Lineker's gonna catch him somewhere around the 3rd round.
Interesting. All right, man. I don't know what you guys are smoking, but I'm getting Fabricio Andrade. I have Fabricio Andrade winning this fight in the first round. He's shown it. He's shown he can finish fighters, anybody basically, the toughest guys in the first round. His striking is too diverse for John Lineker. John Lineker is 32 years old, but he's a veteran of like almost 50 fights. He's been in so many wars. He doesn't have much time left, in my opinion, man. I think he caught Bibiano Fernandez, on the tail end of his career. That's another old guy that was, that overstayed his welcome as the champion of the division. I think Bibiano also got depleted by, in 4 fights with Kevin Billingon, because that pretty much, destroyed his body mentally and physically. That by the time he fought John Lineker, it was just a shell of his former self. Fabricio is 25. Yeah, he just had his birthday. He's 25 years old now. He's young, powerful, and strong. He's electric, and yeah, I just think he has way too many weapons, man. He's gonna knee John Lineker in the face or in the body, and he's gonna send him crashing in the first round. That's what I have. Fabricio Andrade by TKO in round 1.
So we're all in agreement that this is gonna end like as they advertise it. I mean, this happened before with Tanley and Tankai, both knockout artists. They wanted to finish it. How do you think that's going to be different this time around with these 2 guys promising a knockout?
I just think it's going to be exciting, because Fabricio is, he's one of the greatest like promotions in all of Asian, or in all of one championship. Like he knows how to promote fights. He's been promoting a fight with John Lineker even when he had another opponent lined up. So he's always, he's always banking the promos. He's got great quotes. He's well spoken. And he's electric, man. I think I'm most excited for the buildup. Especially fight week next week. It's going to be crazy in Kuala Lumpur, and I know a lot of people are going to be, watching this fight. They're all excited to see it. I am. I know I am. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. 1 on Prime Video, 3 next week, main event. It's gonna be, fireworks, man. October 21st is gonna be fireworks. Fabricio Andrade, John Lineker. Will we see a new champion? Who knows, man?
Nah.
Yeah. There goes Bong. Submission, Bong.
Submission, fourth round.
Fourth round.
Against the cage.
All right.